All right, guys. Well, it's a rainy day in the desert, and I've gotten a little bit more work done inside, and I thought I'd give you guys another update. So just to recap from last week, the exterior of the camper is complete, and I did the electrical inside, which was pretty minimal for this camper, but, you know, ran the stuff for the lights and a couple other things. And then as you guys can see here, it's starting to take shape. So let's start down here. So this will be the flatbed surface. As you guys recall, I had the frame structure extending out. That's all tied in with the floor right there. And I went ahead and just finished it off with some planks. That's the same 1/2-inch planks like you would see on the exterior. Now there will be a mattress over the top of that, so in the end you actually won't see that. But I just used them. I had them on hand, and they're pretty lightweight. And it turned out really sturdy. This will be the largest bed by far that I've had in any camper. You guys can see I had, if you guys recall, this kind of jutted in about like that and then came into here. So what I did, I just did an angle and matched all the boards up to that. And then up underneath here, I'll put another board, and that will have all the various switches. And I think that'd be a good spot. That way if you're standing outside the camper, because you guys, I know I always got to remind myself, but this will sit, 30 some inches in the air on the back of the pickup truck. If you're reaching your hand in there, you could reach the various switches and so forth. But if you're also inside, it's not a big deal to reach down and get those. So I did a couple new things on this one. Let's jump on in. Now this is wide angle. There we go. All right. So on this back wall, I went ahead and finished it off with cedar planking. To keep weight low, I planed it all down to 3/8 of an inch. And just as a reminder, 1/2 inch is the standard width I plane it down for. So this is all 1/2 inch, so it's a little bit sturdier since it's going to bear weight. But that's just a cosmetic wall, so I just planed it down to 3/8. Of course, it did add some strength, not necessary, so to speak, but it's just kind of good to see it's there. Oh, by the way, speaking of weight and everything, as this thing sits, it's at 420 pounds. And I'm kind of approximating at this point in the build. We're probably 80% plus done, maybe even more. Getting in this base, getting in that wall, and then as we'll move in here to this ceiling finishing, this was probably the most technically challenging aspect of the interior build. So let's talk about the ceiling, and this is something else I did a little different in terms of color. So I think in pretty much every camper, with the exception of the van, I've the ceiling treatment has been expanded polystyrene foam board wrapped in fabric, which is what this is here. And but I chose to use a blue fabric. I was in the fabric store grabbing some supplies, and I saw this color and I liked it. And because the roof in here is a little bit on the shorter side, I thought maybe the blue, I've never tried it before, but I thought it might give the perception of this being a little taller than it is, and I think it did. I was really pleased. The boards going across are just trim pieces. Those panels are just a friction fit in there. Let me grab one in case you guys watching this are not familiar with what EPS panels look like. Right here. So these are some that I have on hand. So you'll see these are 1.5 inches. The ones that I used in the ceiling there are 2-inch. So one side has a little plastic coating that has some product information, and the other side has kind of aluminum foil. And this is meant to function as a radiant barrier if it's installed in a certain way. And that certain way is that it has to have a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch air gap. Now, in most of my other builds, these ceiling panels would sit pretty tight to the top of the roof material. However, in this one, if you guys recall, I have the 1/2 inch thick beams that run front to back that kind of help define that curve of the roof. And because the roof curves, it wasn't really possible to get these to sit completely flush. So what that meant is I had an air gap in there. And usually that aluminum foil side, I would put the fabric on that and have that painting toward, or pointing toward the interior. But in this case, I flipped the panel around, and since I do have an appropriate air gap, I have that aluminum foil surface painting or pointing upwards. For me, I'm mostly contending with heat. I live in the desert in a hot area, so I'm kind of excited to have been able to do that. I'm kind of curious to see if I notice any difference in that. The insulation for this back wall, that's all the Thinsulate, which is this right here. This same insulating material I used in the van. So I just cut this and filled in those gaps, put the boards over. I like the performance of this stuff. I don't necessarily have an opinion if one is better than the other, but this is definitely easier to install and has some benefits in unique situations. So yeah, so these are some pretty big accomplishments to get done. I've been working my butt off the last couple days. And so the next move is the interior of this is going to be kind of a combination of the cedar planking on the walls, but also some fabric covered panels. I'm going to use that dark brown like I've used in some other builds. So I'm going to throw a few more fabric covered panels up, and then over here it will be time to construct all the various cabinetry and countertops, which I'm actually quite excited about. I think that might be my favorite part of this interior build. So all right, guys, just a quick update. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and we're getting close. I think I should be able to finish somewhere in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So kind of my preliminary goal is to get done by the time the kids get out of school, which will be here in the latter part of May. So hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for watching.